recording now.
Okay.
Let me stop my video. And all right. So team, why don't you all go ahead? So let's go with the first question. Anish, you want to take the lead on that?
Sure. So, what are like the specific details of Project Lifesaver? Like, we read on your website that it uses like trackers, uh, to track like at-risk people and things like that.
Yeah, so that's a good question. We do often get a lot of some confusion about what we do. So when we first started, we were actually a search and rescue team. We actually went out onto the field and rescued individuals that were wandering. Those individuals that have Alzheimer's, autism, dementia, and other cognitive behaviors. Since then, it has developed into an international thing that we can't necessarily go out on the calls anymore. So we enlist the help of local police departments in their own area. So we're from Port St. Lucie, Florida. And so our local police department, they handled their own program. And so they talk to the people in the community. If somebody in their community goes missing, they go out on searches. We teach them, and we teach them how to search. We teach them how to interact with individuals with those disabilities, so that there's no confusion, nobody's scared when there's on a search. They're not scared of the police or scared of their surroundings. We try to build community involvement with the police officers so that if they do go wandering, they can be found and they see that police officer as somebody they trust and somebody they can talk to. So we do that, and we are in all 50 states, Australia, and Canada. So we have a pretty big reach. We talk to people, thousands of people every day. So that's kind of just a general overview. Our bracelets do use radio frequency technology. So we were the first to implement that technology. However, we are now not the only ones that use it. So we are the first and one of the most tried and true methods. So we have over 3,700 rescues since we started in 1999. And that's all successful rescues of people being found safely within minutes of them notifying the police.
Okay, thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Jimmy?
So, what are the shortcomings of the current alerting mechanisms, including the ones used for search and rescues?
Yeah, that's a good question. It when we tell, there's a lot of relaying. So when we tell a police agency how to interact with their community, they then have to go into their communities and tell the other police officers and tell the people, the community they work with, how they're interacting. So it's kind of like a game of telephone, where by the end, the message is a little bit different. So we've seen where instead of calling 911 when there's a missing person, they call us, or they call the police officer directly. And maybe that police officer is not at work right now or not anywhere near the technology. And it's just kind of a game of telephone. Now, we don't speak directly to the caregivers much because we do try to contain it within the community involvement. So the police officers in their community should be the ones talking to the community members. So it is kind of a game of telephone sometimes. I wouldn't say it's all the time. But that's just a little bit of a shortcoming. In terms of technology, we do find some problems in like the mountains where radio frequency may not work as well or be a shorter distance to find them within compared to like an open field. But that's something that we can definitely work around. Like we use helicopters and drones. So the higher you get up, it kind of overcomes that shortcoming of being in a confined area, like with mountains and buildings and that kind of stuff.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
Yeah.
Sila?
Okay, so have you ever dealt with a Project Lifesaver alert case? Well, if you have, then what was your experience like?
What do you mean, like an alert case? Like, has anybody called us with somebody missing?
Yes.
Yes, we have. Yep. Actually, recently Vanessa handled that call. And I mean, it's a scary thing, especially since we're kind of office jockeys. So it's a little different than police officers. So us getting the call is a little bit different. Um, the first thing we do say is please hang up and call 911. We're professionals in like the research and development side. We are not professionals in the physical going into the field and getting them. Now, I say that as we, as in Vanessa and I, our bosses actually are professionals in the going and getting them. We're pretty new, so we haven't been trained in that just yet. But we do alert them to say, please hang up and call 911. And when they do call 911, we say, tell them you're part of Project Lifesaver. Don't just tell them that somebody's missing. Say, you know, they're missing, they're part of Project Lifesaver, they have Alzheimer's or autism, they may not respond to somebody shouting at them or police sirens or anything like that. So it's important to give that information to dispatch when you call them. If that information isn't relayed, that's where there can be a little bit of a disconnect. So if I am a police officer and I hear that a child is missing and I don't know that that child has autism, I might call out to them, you know, hey, Cassie, where, you know, come here. And that child is nonverbal. They're not going to respond and I won't know. I might think the child isn't the child I'm looking for, or something could escalate, you know, if I go to grab the child's hand and she freaks out, that kind of thing. So we definitely encourage the community members and the police officers to sit down and talk about how the alerts will be going out. Will they be calling a specific member or will they be calling 911? Now, we do see that the majority of our agencies, instead of calling directly 911, because sometimes in the city 911 is a general over the entire city, not their specific area, they do have specialized numbers for their agencies. So here at the office, like I said, we don't get many alert calls, but we do get some. And the first thing we always say is please call 911 and tell them that you're a part of Project Lifesaver and you need equipment deployed right away.
Thank you, Ms. Rush. That was good. Mahima?
Thank you.
So, what are like some non-technology items like that would have made your job easier? Like, you know, these days we have like technological things that can, you know, help alert the public and all. What are some non-technological items?
That's a good one. Part of the problem is that our technology is just that, it's technology. And a lot of the public don't know about the program unless they're in the program. So non-technology is kind of hard for us these days. It used to be that they would go over the radio and maybe on like your local radio station, say, hey, I need you guys to be on the lookout for this child. But one thing that we are pretty particular on is that our searches need to be quick and fast so that it doesn't become a kind of life or death situation down the road. So I'm not sure there is particularly a way to not use technology in that. I am the public relations and social media manager, and so I use technology every day. I don't know. I don't think you use anything that isn't technology.
No, not really,
Yeah.
no.
Is there any way I could help clarify that? Do you have any other?
Like maybe when before like these alerting systems, maybe let's say when someone went like missing, maybe in the past, right? When there weren't all these things, how would the people have helped and, you know, look for the child?
Okay, yeah. So the usually the police, without our technology, the police kind of do this well, even sometimes with our technology, if it's in a unpopulated area, they kind of all get feet on the ground, and there might be volunteers or advocacy groups that join in, and they can get paged or called and say, hey, we need you to join in on the ground and take a look at what's going on. And so they all walk together. Maybe only one of them has our receivers, but the rest are walking, looking for the people that might match the description, and then just trying to be clearing people out. Like, okay, here's a city, let's move some people out of the way so we can try to find the person that we're looking for, instead of it being a crowded area that you can't necessarily walk through. I hope that helps.
Thank you. That was helpful.
Okay, yeah.
No, I think part of that, Miss Rush, is also figuring out, where we are and what we can do when we don't have access to technology. Right? Like kind of like what you said, when we are, let's say, someone is lost in the mountains. Now, that's not a very common case, but still, in cases like that, what could be used to help locate such people?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that's kind of what I talked about with like our helicopters and drones, trying to overcome those obstacles. So what we say is that if your equipment isn't working, to have somebody else try it, because sometimes getting a new fresh pair of eyes on it and on the whole situation can help change the outcome.
Makes sense. Thank you. All right, Anish.
So after like a successful case, would you like talk to the child and like give them counseling and everything? Like not you specifically, but Project Lifesaver. Like would you talk to them and like reach out to them and like keep track of them?
Yeah, so we definitely it's hard for us, the organization, to do that, but we do encourage our community, our agencies, to talk to the children. So the way our program works is the police officers go once a month to the child's or adult's house, and they change the battery in their bracelet. And this is a necessity, but it also builds that community policing relationship. It's not the police as like a faceless figure. It's a person that you're getting to know and you're getting an interaction with. So we say, when you rescue a person, make sure they're safe. Do they need to go to the hospital? How are they feeling mentally? We do find that a lot of our people that do wander aren't necessarily doing it because they're upset, or even if they get upset, they might get a little confused and disoriented, but they're not exactly upset. But we do take them for evaluations just to make sure that they're physically and mentally okay.
Thank you.
So on the contrary to Mahima's question, what are some technologies that you would like to use in order to make your job easier? Like I heard that the bands you use for Project Lifesaver for radio technology, you have to replace the batteries. So any thoughts on any of these technologies?
Yeah, so it would be nice to say, like, it would be nice to have a battery that never goes dead, or a band that never stretches out, that it can get pulled off. But I think if you start looking into replacing those kinds of things, like finding a battery that does last longer, or a band that does last longer, I think you're taking away that relationship that the police and the child get, especially with like the current health situation in the world. It's easy to just drop off some batteries at a house and say, see you next year, unless you go missing. So it's nice to be able to build that community relationship. And we do like to focus on positive police encounters here. So that's why we do push for that. But the technology, we are constantly researching new technologies. So we used to have a couple programs like PAL, STAR, Indigo, that kind of stuff, that we have since phased out as we find them have become unnecessary, or people don't like them, and then we're trying new ones. We have a couple different programs that are in beta testing right now, and we're looking at more drones that are more readily accessible to the general public. And we're also looking to expand into other radio frequencies across the world so that if people in Europe need it, they can use it as well without having to get specialized equipment. So we're always looking at new technology, looking at sometimes some smaller organizations come to us with some ideas that we do take the time to say, okay, how would this help our community? Because that really is ultimately what it boils down to, is the people we help. Is it going to benefit them, or is it going to make it so that they have no relationship with the program? They have nobody to be there if there is an incident.
That's a very interesting thought there as well, in terms of a couple things, in terms of the community connection, in terms of new research and development, new R&D, in terms of using the technology for the cutting edge technology. And I'm sure part of it might also be the cost or the finances, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that might also be a limitation on
Yes.
um, how far you can take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, if we cut out the middleman and just give technology to the community, then it creates a disconnect between the police officers that are out searching for them and the individuals that are missing. So that's why we try to keep that connection there with that community policing.
That makes sense. Siddha?
Okay, so let's see. Do you think that facial recognition would be helpful in your search?
Actually, yes, I think that would be very beneficial, um, especially in big cities where we see large crowds of people that, oh, I'm looking for a child in a green shirt. Well, there could be many children in green shirts within that area. So facial recognition could be pretty beneficial. Our equipment can pinpoint somebody fairly close, closer than GPS actually can. Um, but it's still in a large city, 10 feet could be 100 people, depending on how densely packed the city is. So facial recognition definitely could help. I think in our current state, like the equipment we currently have, it would need to all be updated to use facial recognition. I'm not sure it's something we could just add. It would have to be a whole new equipment to add on to that, but I definitely think it would be beneficial.
Thank you. That helps.
Thank you.
Mahima? Mahima?
Okay, so this is kind of relating to Sita's question on more technology side. So do you think geolocation would be helpful for tracking down specific children to be able to pinpoint them instead of like facial recognition? Do you think that would also be helpful?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what we already do. Not really in a way, but we like to think that we're not constantly tracking people. So we're still giving the people with these cognitive disabilities a little bit of freedom, a little bit of privacy. So yes, we know their location at all times, but we actually don't. We only look for the location when they're missing. So we try to give them a little bit of privacy and a little bit of control over their lives. They can go on vacation, they can go to the store. It's just when they're missing do we only track where they are. But I definitely think it's something we could look into.
Okay, thank you.
All right, the floor is open for anyone with remaining
Yeah.
questions. We have
So,
about another 8-9 minutes.
so what could like ordinary people do to help, like maybe get involved, like not take up too much of their time, but like so that it speeds up it helps locate the missing people faster.
Yeah, that's a question, but I think I might have to turn it around a little bit. Our searches take on average 30 minutes. So that is a drastically shorter time than most of any our other competitors, dogs, GPS, anything like that. So actually using volunteers can kind of get cumbersome when you need to be quick and out there on the field. And volunteers being like, okay, hold on, I have to, I'm doing something right now, I'll be right out there. One thing we do really recommend though is if volunteers want to participate, get with their local agency on funding. A lot of our local agencies try to offer it to their communities for free, which means that they're doing all that funding on their own. So if an advocacy group or a volunteer organization comes together to raise money and do a fundraiser for funding for the agency, then they can continue to provide that to the community. Oftentimes when there's budget cuts within a police department, our program is one of the first to get cut because it is an extra program. So that's just something that if the community truly needs to come together, and we'd like to see that, funding is a great way. Fundraising, I mean, they don't necessarily have to fund it directly, but fundraising is a great thing to do.
And I think that's a
Okay.
great point, right, Ms. Rush, because um, it's something that we also, like as community members, can raise awareness for.
Yes. Yep.
Whether that is like by doing research the way we are doing, or by just having that information spread out.
Yes, we are. We like to say that we're one of the country's best kept secrets because we are in a lot of agencies and we help a lot of people, but not many people know about us. They don't, when I say Project Lifesaver, not many people are like, oh, I know what that is. So it's getting the word out, but getting the word out to the people that need it most, not just, people that are caregivers, people that have autism, Alzheimer's, dementia, people that are at risk of wandering away from their home or loved ones. And so that's why we try to get the word out. And so it is helpful that people want to help search, but it's more helpful to get the word out and get it to people that are not in the program so that if we do need to search for them, we can find them.
So out of curiosity then, Ms. Rush, are we or is Project Lifesaver also a part of, like, teams up with hospitals? Because that's where typically you would find, patients, at risk patients.
Yep, we do. So we are in VA hospitals. We are in nursing / assisted living facilities. We are in public safety agencies, and that includes fire, rescue, police, helicopter rescue, those kinds of places. We are also a few regular hospitals, not just VAs. Those are a little harder because the individuals are not necessarily there for extended periods of time, so they don't really get used to the people using the tracking system. But we do partner with them, and we partner with advocacy groups all over the country, and we do try to get into a lot of places where they are needed.
And a lot of them actually do help with funding.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, believe it or not, our awareness about Project Lifesaver, our team was researching on various aspects, so that it came up in one of the researches that they were doing, and then one of our was it Deputy Apple team? I don't remember. Yes, it was one of our school, a deputy assigned to our school. We had an interview with him, and he also mentioned nothing but great things about Project Lifesaver.
That's good. Our actually, when we first started, we were based out of Chesapeake, Virginia. Now we do still have an office out there, but our headquarters is now in Florida. So yeah, the Virginia area is very familiar with us.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. All right, what else?
May I ask a question, please?
Let's go ahead, Jimmy.
So, do you have any other people you would recommend we get in touch with?
Yes, there are. Let me look through my, I think, what is,
I look for long guys.
no, have you guys heard of, actually, I think you're right. Project Find Safe. So that is in North Dakota.
Yes.
North
Yeah.
Dakota, one of the colleges is actually implementing Project Lifesaver statewide, and it is a huge program. And they are doing it, pretty much 2 girls out of the college are doing it on their own. Now they are partnering with the police and stuff like that, but they are spearheading this. And so Project Find Safe. Let me get the actual name of it so I can direct you in that way. Yeah. Yep. So it's called the Find Safe Initiative. It's out of the Minot State University. Oh, and I'm sorry, it's 3 people that are fully doing it. So the North Dakota Center for Persons with Disabilities, they're implementing this entire Project Lifesaver program statewide. I think that's definitely a place you guys would be interested in looking into, because they help not just children, but also the elderly and pretty much anybody that has any sort of disability in that leads to wandering.
Okay, that's really helpful, Ms. Rush, because that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to, and we have contacted, even Amber Alert as an example, right? Virginia Amber
Okay.
Alert. We have had some discussions with them. We have tried to reach out to Silver Alert, Project Lifesavers one. Then there was one more. Find Me, I think, was another one.
Mhm.
However, it's like it's a hit or a miss. Half the times we get a response, like in Project Lifesavers case, right? You were nice enough to respond to us, and we were able to take it forward in some cases. And I
Yeah.
do understand, like people are busy, they have important things to do. So we totally understand if we do not get a response.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys would really find a lot of information about them because they have been researching missing and wandering for a long time, and they are the sweetest people ever. I have no doubt that they will not, or that they would respond to you. So they're definitely somebody I think you guys would enjoy speaking with.
Okay. All right, team. I think we are almost out of time. It's past 4. Um, Miss Rush and Miss Vanessa,
Yep.
thank you so much for your time. Before um, one other thing, real quick, right? So, as a part of our research and initiative, so what we are doing, just to give you an idea, is we are researching on various aspects. Part of which are technology based, part of which are non-technology based. Including psychological effects, including how we can use technology to help out. And As a part of this, we are building a website, building some brochures, trying to spread awareness. At least our first goal is to spread awareness, in our schools, local schools here, local schools, libraries, and so forth. So as a part of that, we are also conducting surveys. So if you don't mind, we will send you out a survey if you don't mind, filling it. It's a short survey. It's not a big one. It's like couple minutes.
Okay.
And then as we progress in December and January, we will also send the brochures and websites your way for your feedback. If you want to use it if it's of any help to you, that will be awesome.
Yeah, that would be amazing. We would love to look into it and maybe share it with our members.
Yeah.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, team. Anything else before we hang up?
Thank you so much for your guys' time. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you
Yeah,
guys for
well,
Thank you for your time.
yeah, thank you guys for talking to us. You have all been extremely pleasant. Probably
Yes.
the nicest people I've talked to all day.